Legal disclaimer for podcast. The information provided in this podcast is intended solely for educational purposes. The content shared reflects researched information and public knowledge. It is not to be construed as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Listeners are strongly encouraged to consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to their diet or lifestyle. The hosts and producers of this podcast are not responsible for any adverse effects resulting from the use or reliance on this information. By engaging with this podcast, you acknowledge that you have read and understood this disclaimer. Your health is paramount, and professional guidance should always be sought when making any health-related decisions.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going deep on something we all deal with every single day: food.
That's right.
And I'm not just talking about what tastes good. We're going way beyond that. We're diving deep into the how-to of healthier choices. We've got some fascinating research here, all about harmful ingredients.
Yes.
Tips on cooking oils, and even a list of brands known for, doing things the right way.
The good guys.
So get ready. We're about to uncover some pretty surprising food facts.
It's amazing how often we just don't even think about what's in our food.
Right.
We think we're making healthy choices, but there are some hidden dangers working in some of the things we consider healthy.
Really? Like what? Give me an example.
Well, take canola oil. Often marketed as this healthy plant-based oil, but it can actually be pretty harmful when you heat it to high temperatures.
Like searing a steak.
Exactly. It all comes down to the smoke point. The temperature at which an oil starts to break down and then releases potentially harmful compounds.
So you're saying even though it seems healthy, that canola oil in my pantry might not be the best choice for every type of cooking?
You got it. And it's not just canola oil.
Okay.
A lot of common cooking oils have surprisingly low smoke points.
Huh.
If you're using, let's say, olive oil for high heat cooking, you might be missing out on its benefits and even creating harmful substances. It's kind of like using premium gas in a car that's not designed for it.
Right.
You're not getting the full value.
Right.
You might even be causing damage.
I see. Okay, so this is why we're doing this deep dive, right?
Yes.
If I want to make sure I'm choosing the right oil, what should I leave for?
First, get to know the different types of cooking oils.
Okay.
And their smoke points. For high heat cooking, like stir frying or searing, avocado oil is a great option because it has a super high smoke point. But for something like an omelette olive oil with its lower smoke point and that unique flavor is perfect.
So it's all about matching the oil to how you're cooking. I never thought about it that way.
It's like using the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
And speaking of the right tools, let's talk about those ingredients hiding in processed foods.
Okay.
The ones that sound more like they belong in a chemistry lab than on your plate.
Yeah, I was surprised by some of the stuff on that list you sent over.
Right?
Nitrates in processed meats, artificial sweeteners, emulsifiers, salad dressing, ice cream. It's a lot.
It can be. And while these ingredients might be allowed in food, research suggests they can have a negative impact on our health.
Okay.
For example, some studies have shown that emulsifiers, which are used to, improve texture and shelf life, they can actually mess with the balance of bacteria in our gut.
Oh, wow.
Leading to, digestive issues and potentially contributing to chronic diseases.
I had no idea something like an emulsifier could have such a big impact.
Right.
It's like those invasive species that throw off a whole ecosystem.
Perfect analogy. And it shows why it's so important to be aware of what's in our food. It's not about never enjoying processed foods again, but making informed choices.
Understanding their risks.
Exactly.
So what can we do about it? Reading those ingredient lists can feel like a foreign language. And who has time to research everything in their cart?
I hear you. It can feel overwhelming, but it really comes down to a few things. First, become familiar with the names of the most common offenders. That research you have, there are some great lists to get you started.
Okay.
It's like learning a few key phrases in a new language. You don't need to be fluent.
Right. Okay, what else?
Second, choose whole, unprocessed foods as often as possible. Instead of that bag of chips, try baked sweet potato slices.
Okay.
You get that crunch you're craving, but with vitamins and fiber. Instead of sugary cereal, go for oatmeal with some fresh fruit and nuts. It takes a little more effort, but the payoff is huge.
So swapping out those processed choices for whole food options whenever possible.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And third, don't be afraid to research brands. Look for companies that prioritize natural ingredients and transparent sourcing. It might take a little extra time at the store, but it's worth it. You're supporting companies that align with your values.
Okay, I'm feeling more empowered already. It's not about being perfect, it's about being mindful.
Yes.
So what's next on our deep dive? We've got this list of brands that are supposedly doing things right. Should we dig into that?
Let's explore those brands. See what makes them stand out. It's like getting a behind-the-scenes look at the food industry, seeing who's really committed to quality.
I love that. Let's go shopping.
All right, let's jump into some of these brands that are, kind of making waves in the healthy food world.
Okay.
When it comes to organic produce, Amy's Kitchen, Earthbound Farm, they consistently top the list, committed to sustainable farming practices, delivering fresh, flavorful fruits and veggies.
I use Amy's Kitchen frozen veggies all the time.
Oh, nice.
They're so convenient.
They are. And speaking of convenience, Eden Foods.
Okay.
A great option for canned beans, legumes. They go for organic ingredients, BPA-free cans.
BPA-free cans.
A huge plus. A lot of people don't realize that the lining of some cans contains BPA, a chemical that can, leach into the food.
Is that right?
Disrupt hormones.
I had no idea. I've always just grabbed whatever was on sale.
Yeah.
Wow. You don't think about it?
It's true. We're often on autopilot at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But once you start paying attention to these details, it really changes how you shop. And those changes can make a big impact on your health down the road.
For sure. Okay, Eden Foods, going on the list. What about grains? Those are a staple at my house, but I'm always looking for, healthier options.
For whole grains, Bob's Red Mill, Nature's Path, excellent choices.
Okay.
Bob's Red Mill, known for their wide variety, grains, flours, baking mixes. Nature's Path, more focused on organic breakfast cereals, granolas. Both prioritize minimal processing and, high-quality ingredients.
I love Bob's Red Mill. I've used their flours for baking. Always feel good about using their products.
They're definitely a brand you can trust. Now, snacks,
Okay.
nuts and seeds are a great option for healthy fats, protein, and Blue Diamond Growers and Nutiva, two brands that really stand out.
I'm obsessed with almonds. I eat them every day. What makes Blue Diamond a good choice?
Well, Blue Diamond Growers is a cooperative owned by the almond growers themselves, so they have a direct stake in the quality. They offer a huge variety of almond products, from plain almonds to almond milk, almond butter, and they're all about sustainable farming practices.
That's great to know. I'm definitely going to be looking for their products now. What about dairy alternatives? I've been trying to cut back on dairy a bit, for environmental reasons, but haven't found an alternative I really love yet.
Well, Silk and So Delicious are two brands that are worth trying. They both offer a wide range of plant-based milks, almond milk, soy milk, coconut, oat milk. They use organic ingredients, and they avoid artificial sweeteners and flavors, which can be hard to find.
Awesome. I'm excited to try some of those. Okay, last but not least, meat and seafood. I know this is an area where sourcing is really important.
You're absolutely right. For fish, wild caught is, the gold standard.
Right.
And Wild Alaskan Company is a fantastic option for sustainably sourced seafood.
Oh, wow.
They deliver flash frozen fish right to your door.
Really?
So you can have fresh, high-quality seafood without worrying about, ethics or sustainability.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I love the convenience of home delivery.
Right. And for meat, ButcherBox, it's a game changer.
Okay.
Grass-fed and pasture-raised beef, chicken, pork,
Wow.
all humanely raised, free of antibiotics and hormones.
I've heard good things about ButcherBox. Think I'm finally ready to try it out.
You won't regret it. It's a great way to get high-quality meat that aligns with your values. And speaking of values, this whole deep dive has been about, aligning our food choices with what matters, our health, the environment, and supporting those companies that are doing things right.
It really is amazing how much we've learned about making healthier choices. By taking a deep dive into these topics, I feel like I have a whole new perspective on food.
That's what it's all about, empowering ourselves with knowledge, making informed decisions. And the best part is, it's not about deprivation or perfection.
Right.
It's about progress, finding what works best for you.
Exactly. So as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the one key message you hope listeners will take away from this conversation?
I think the most important takeaway is that small changes can make a big difference. Whether it's swapping out canola oil for avocado oil, choosing organic produce when you can, or supporting brands that are all about sustainability and ethical practices. Every little bit counts.
I love that. Small changes, big impact.
Exactly.
It's funny, we started talking about hidden dangers in food, and I was a little worried it'd be like, everything is bad for you. But I actually feel really empowered now.
I get that. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you start learning about, all the things that could be wrong in the food system. But it's not about being scared or restricted.
Right.
It's about having that knowledge so you can make choices. The choices that align with what you care about.
Exactly. And knowing there are brands out there doing things right, prioritizing quality and ethical sourcing, that's encouraging. It's like casting a vote with your dollar, supporting the companies making a difference.
Absolutely. And it's not just about those brands themselves. It's like the bigger picture. When we demand better from the companies we buy from, the whole industry notices.
I like that. So we're all part of this movement toward a more sustainable, health-conscious food system.
Yes.
And it all starts with our choices at the store, in our kitchens.
Exactly. So speaking of kitchens, what could our listeners do today to really use all this information?
Well, we've talked about reading labels and understanding those ingredients, but sometimes it's the simplest things. Like, what if this week you swapped out one processed smack for a whole food alternative? Instead of chips, maybe try those baked sweet potatoes.